Next tonight, Laura Castañeda on Binacom, the organization of college communications instructors who cross international lines to exchange ideas and information. Now more than a decade after its founding, Binacom has evolved in more ways than one.
Mexico and the United States. Two countries so close their borders touch, yet their cultures remain so far.
I remember at UCSD when I was teaching a lot of upper division courses and got a lot of students to come to a Binacom in Tijuana, and many of them said, "Oh, there's a university in Tijuana?" And when you hear remarks like that, it's like, oh no, we have a lot of work that we need to do, because there's so little knowledge, particularly on the US side, of what goes on south of the border.
College professors on both sides of the international border in the field of communications decided it was time to do something to bridge that gap.
The idea of
Binacom started with two professors who are no longer here, and myself, wondering how we could unite ourselves with our colleagues across the border. The countries may have politics, but the universities don't know borders.
The teachers created the first professional organization dedicated to teachers in the field of communications. They called it Binacom, or the Binational Association of School of Communication of California.
I first became involved in Binacom in the fall of 2000. I started teaching at the University of San Diego, and some of my colleagues here recommended that I become part of the organization because my research interest focuses on Spanish language media, specifically entertainment television in Mexico. So it was a great place for me to get involved and to network with other people interested in media, both in the United States and in Latin America.
But what could 8 universities and colleges from two opposite sides of the border have in common? With language barriers and cultural differences, how would they do what they're supposed to do best? Communicate.
Preliminary.
It's that home base thing. It's like you feel like if you really mess it up, you know, people might giggle, but they'll giggle in a way that makes you feel like you can fool around and you can fix it and you can try again and you don't have to go, oh, what an idiot, you know.
The walls came down. Instructors quickly learned they had just as many similarities as differences, and they had one common goal: helping their students.
In the case of students from Mexico, they have to take into consideration what is being done in other places. Sometimes we are limited by technology, especially in areas of multimedia. It will make them look for other ways and come up with other alternatives.
The organization is very much oriented towards the students and student success. And that the reason we were all coming together was to improve our level of instruction for the students on both sides of the border.
Es curioso cómo, a pesar de que hablamos diferentes idiomas,
even though we speak different languages and have different customs and cultures, we're talking about communication, and most of all, we have the students' interest in common. We have the same interest, characteristics, and objectives, which is to promote communications. In the end, it doesn't matter what university you come from.
Within a year of the group's first meeting, the teachers began hosting an annual 2-day communications conference.
Hopefully, the students have an opportunity to meet their colleagues, again, sometimes even from the same side of the border, but certainly from the other side of the border, and they get to see what kind of work is being done in a variety of fields.
The host school would rotate every year, giving students and teachers an opportunity to cross the border and spend time on the other side. Teachers encouraged their students to submit video projects for public screening. The idea was a hit.
Students consistently remind us that it hasn't all been done before, that there's a tremendous room for creativity and new ideas and new ways to use the medium that us old-timers hadn't thought of before.
Organizers named the 2-day festival the Encounter or Encuentro. and set out to attract big-name professionals in various fields of communication.
And I think that this is a pretty amazing collaboration that's lasted for this long, 13 or 14 years. It's an opportunity to get our students to cross the border, which is many of them don't do. You know, they can come and spend their whole 4 years at UCSD and never cross the border, or only cross the border, you know, to go to Calle Revolucion and go to a bar, which is not the same as actually crossing the border and going to a university and meeting students and so on. So for that, it's really valuable.
Part of the encounter, they decided, would be dedicated to screening student-produced films and documentaries.
To me, it's a lot of fun because you get to see what was in your head, and then finally when you watch it and show it to your family, and they see the work that you're doing, and so to me it's just exciting, so I love it.
Paul de Santiago, a student at City College and San Diego State University, submitted this short project entitled El Pastor.
The idea or the intent of the film was to create a film that was about the plight of people who sometimes don't feel like they fit in society, and that like the little boy didn't feel like he fit in because he was an orphan, and a lot of people who come to the United States sometimes feel out of place, and they go through emotions of like, do I really belong here? Where's my place? And so I kind of wanted to capture that in that short film.
The film took de Santiago nearly 6 months to complete. After seeing the reaction from the Binacom audience, Paul says no question about it, the time he invested was time well spent.
When you see it on screen, on a big screen, you forget about the sleepless nights or the, all the money you spent. So you're watching it and you forget about that. You watch it and say it was worth it.
Binacom's relationship with Latin America would change in the year 2000. For the first time ever, students from the United States and Tijuana would go beyond the international borders of Mexico. Their work would get a chance to be seen at the Cuban Film Festival in Havana.
It was very exciting. I mean, just to have the opportunity to have something seen, not only outside San Diego, but outside the United States in a foreign country, was just really exciting, idea.
Carlos Pelayo's short film titled Cruzando or Crossing was viewed by people from all over the world.
The films that come out of Latin America more often than not have very much a social or political edge to them, which I think is just great, because many times, unfortunately, I think in Hollywood, it's more about entertainment, about entertaining the public, as opposed to really maybe educating or having some interesting ideas or stories.
Carlos says he was also surprised by Hollywood stars and directors who were there. He says, unlike Sundance, everyone seemed relaxed and approachable.
How many students, in the world get a chance to sit down and talk to Roman Polanski about film? And I think for me, that's something that I'm always going to carry with me, because I admire his work, and it was just an amazing experience.
Carlos's colleague Neil Kendricks, a graduate student at San Diego State, also had the opportunity to attend the film festival and experience Cuban cinema firsthand.
You will go and then you'll see these lines that stretch down the block. And it'll be for this sometimes a very obscure little film, but people have this curiosity of wanting to see what's being made in other parts of the world. So there's this sort of weird sort of irony there, that even though it's this communist country and we have these sort of perceptions or perhaps misperceptions of what it means to be Cuban and what it means to live there, one thing that's for certain is that they have very much an openness about the arts and about films. The people just love going to the movies.
Back in this region, last year the members of Binacom decided to experiment yet again. This time with the group's annual Encuentro on hiatus. The teachers sought out to produce a project like no other. They called for student volunteers from their respective schools to collaborate on a joint documentary project.
Al inicio del proyecto tendría que ser honesto, estaba un poco escéptico.
I have to be honest, I was skeptical. The project was very ambitious, but when we saw the final result, it was worth it. And more importantly, we realized what was possible. The students didn't know each other, and yet the project was really good quality. It's incredible what video can do in terms of communication.
Alberto Vasquez and 8 other Binacom students from both sides of the border met and started brainstorming. They came up with this.
They think Mexico it's a partying place, so they only come here to Mexico to party, to drink, to get drunk, to get drugs. So that could be a bad thing.
A 30-minute bilingual documentary profiling 4 students from the region: Darcy from San Diego, Felix from Tijuana, Paul, who lives in San Diego and travels every day into Mexico to study, and Jaime, a student at Southwestern College who commutes from Mexico every day to attend classes.
She says, "Hey, babe, take a walk on the wild side."
When we took meetings like at City College, you could see that they had all of this equipment, and we have like the bare essentials, but it's no big difference.
We make history, and the opportunity for Mexican students and American students to see what the life of one Mexican student and the life of American student is precious, because our appreciations are different, and when you see it in a video and you see that that's life, real life, your appreciation about the border changes.
It's been 13 years now since that first Binacom meeting. Some teachers have long since retired. Some new faces have surfaced. Some in the original group remain. While technology continues to change, one thing has not: the amistad, or friendship, that each of these teachers has gained, not to mention newfound respect for one another's language and culture.
In this atmosphere of global tension that we realize that we have enormous ties in Mexico, and that we really need to keep those going, and I think that on the other side of the border they feel the same way.
Podemos hacer que el grupo crezca o se fortalezca.
I feel like we can do a lot for our students. As teachers, we can make the group stronger and bigger. In Binacom, there's people with lots of work experience, and if we take advantage of this, Binacom could grow worldwide.
I would like to see Binacom move towards more international research, more collaboration between Mexican communication researchers and American communication researchers. I would love to do some research with a partner in, say, Tijuana, looking at the local kind of Spanish language television, the local news and entertainment sort of telenovelas that are going on in Mexico.
Being part of Binacom allows me to practice my Spanish and to gain the perspectives of people from another country, another culture. You can't be neighbors and not want to know each other.
Sino se formó una familia.
We formed a family through the necessity to understand one another's culture and the interchange of each other's academic needs.
Cultura del otro, lo podemos tener a través de.
We can have this by simply communicating with each other.
Los lazos que se han dado,
I want to say we are the only ones in this region who have the quality of ties we have formed in this border region in the field of academic communication.
En el ámbito de la academia, en el campo de la comunicación.
Imagine trekking through this rough terrain with no food or water, where temperatures range from an icy 30 degrees at night to a suffocating and scorching 150 degrees during the day. Rafael Hernandez knows this area well. For almost 2 decades, he's dedicated his life searching for lost border crossers here.
Ahorita estamos en las montañas de Otay, que es la zona más próxima para entrar de México a Estados Unidos, siendo el lugar más cercano, también es el más protegido.
His organization, Los Ángeles del Desierto, or The Desert Angels was created one night after watching a story on a local newscast.
A woman on the Mexican side of the border was begging for help. Her husband was lost during a snowstorm in the notoriously dangerous Rumorosa Mountains that extend from Mexicali into California.
Y lo vemos muchas veces que se pierde un niño, se pierde inclusive hasta un animalito y se juntan muchos vecinos a ir a ayudar. ¿Sí? Entonces yo dije, bueno, yo voy.
Hernandez opened an international phone line.
Porque todas las personas que me están llamando, que buscan a sus familiares, los buscan con una desesperación tremenda.
Although Hernandez embarks on these missions with high hopes, he knows all too well that outcome might be grim.
Agarré su mano, le dije, ya llegamos, mijo, te vas a ir a tu casa, ya estamos contigo. Nada más, lo único que sentí fue que me apretó su mano, me apretó fuerte y ya.
To Hernandez, each case is special. They are brothers and sisters who he says are just trying to survive.
Sabemos que no lo tenemos que hacer, lo sabemos, pero nuestra gente no lo sabe y nuestra gente está muriendo allí.
In 2013, Hernandez was recognized for his humanitarian efforts by Estrella TV. He was flown to Miami, where he was honored with an award and a donation from Latin singer Olga Tañón.
La señorita Olga salió, me llamó por mi nombre, me subió al escenario.
That donation helped fund this small plane.
Las distancias que tienen que caminar normalmente son de 100 a 120 millas, terrenos completamente hostiles, en temperaturas de veras increíbles.
And there are other dangers too. Rafael and his crew are not always welcome. Several years ago, he was assaulted and left for dead in the Arizona desert.
Que nos golpearon ahí en el desierto, me dejaron muy mal de mi ojo, este ojo no veía y tenía un derrame por dentro.
Thankfully, the donation from Olga Tañón helped him pay for a surgery. Miraculously, his vision has been restored. Despite the pain and a constant struggle for funding and manpower, this angel of the desert shows no sign of slowing down.
Porque si ya no puedo yo caminar, no pienso de ninguna forma por esa razón no seguir.
Well done, kid.
Only 300? That's less than half the last month's.
Beat the guy in 30 seconds. Where's the fun in that?
Hey man, that's bullshit.
Who do you think you're talking to like that? Huh? I got a business to run here. You want more money? Go set up a lemonade stand. But if you want to keep breathing, then get the hell out of my face.
¿Estás peleando otra vez, Alejandro?
Tengo que, papá. Quieren quitar la casa.
Deja que se la lleven. No me queda mucho tiempo.
No digas eso. Podemos dejar que nos quiten la casa.
No tenemos muchas opciones. ¿Qué estás haciendo, Alejandro?
Necesite para quedarnos con la casa. Perdón, papá.
Alejandro, no seas tonto, Alejandro. Vuelve, no vale la pena. Regresa, Alejandro. Regresa, hijo.
The lights go down in the city, and the sun shines on the bay. Do I wanna be there? Yeah, in my city. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Don't move. Have a gun.
Yeah, no shit.
Just give me all you got. No one gets hurt.
No one? You didn't see that coming, huh?
Shit. Sorry, man. You have to understand.
Shut up and give me your wallet. Keep your hands up. Alejandro Acosta, 1313 Park Boulevard, San Diego. Tell me, Alejandro, why are you robbing people?
My dad's sick, and we're about to get kicked out of our home if I can't come up with $2,500.
That's some debt you got there. Keep talking.
He used up his 401k and medical bills, and now we're behind on rent. I don't rob people. It would be in the first.
What about this 300? You didn't point this gun at someone for it?
No, I fight underground. That's my prize money.
Ooh, a fighter. Well, Alejandro, my name is Damien, and you're gonna die. On second thought, you sound like you're in some shit. And I want to help, but I can't just give my money to some jerk-off who's gonna shoot me for it now, can I? So here's how this is gonna go. We're gonna fight. You win, get my money. Clear?
Seriously?
You're a fighter, right?
Yeah, but...
And you need the money. So let's fight. Come on, Tro. Is that all you got? I'll tell you. 300 for a fight is some crappy pay. Maybe it's because you're a crappy fighter. Alright then. Let's play. How do you expect to pay off all your shit if you can't even give your all? Now you and your dad are just gonna have to live on the street with no roof over your head. Are you okay with that? No! Fight me, damn it!
So that's it, right? We're done. Hey, man, that's it, right?
We're not done. Now we're done.
What's this?
It's a check. $3,000.
But I lost.
Nah, you got owned. But you fought with heart. And I respect that, so.
Thanks.
But before I can give you this, here's my business address. I want to see you there next week, 6 p.m. And if you don't show up, I will find you at 1313 Park Boulevard and kill you for pointing your gun at me. Get it?
Got it.
Good. I'm keeping the gun, by the way.
Hey, wait. What are you?
Ashesuish Médicos. I'll see you next week.
Venezuela, México,
El Salvador,
México y Guatemala, Argentina y Armenia.
¡Jóvenes Latinos!
Soy mexicana, soy americana.
Yo soy de Colombia, de Bogotá, Colombia. Soy armenia, pero nací en Argentina.
Soy mexicana, soy estadounidense.
Tengo varios elementos que definen mi identidad. Soy joven, latino, gay y indocumentado.
No solo soy latina, chicana, mexicana, otras gentes pueden decir pocha por haber nacido en los Estados Unidos.
Soy mexicana, soy latina, soy estudiante de la universidad, soy bilingüe y soy mamá.
Bueno, la identidad puede definir en cierta parte como transnacional, porque a pesar de que vivo aquí, mantengo relación con gente de mi país, El Salvador.
La educación siempre ha sido muy importante para mí desde que soy muy pequeña. Gracias a Dios estoy cumpliendo mi sueño de estar en la universidad y creo que la educación es la base del éxito en la vida.
En los últimos años, los obstáculos que tuve que enfrentar, especialmente en tratar de terminar la universidad, fue problemas en la familia y como soy un estudiante inmigrante, tuve que pagar los primeros 2 años de la escuela solo con la ayuda de la familia. Y no fue hasta después de DACA que el precio bajó y eso me ayudó bastante para poder terminar con la escuela y creo que fue muy importante para mí poder terminar.
Los obstáculos que tengo que enfrentar son muchos porque soy hija de inmigrante y ser la mayor tiene mucha responsabilidad porque tengo que ayudarle a mi mamá a trabajar los veranos, tengo que ayudarle a manejar.
Obstáculos que he tenido que enfrentar es mucho como identificarme qué cultura soy, también el idioma. El idioma ha sido muy difícil para mí porque, especialmente cuando vine a California, porque en Miami hablábamos más español, entonces siempre los enseñaba mucho el español, pero aquí es mucho el inglés y saber cómo escribirlo bien. Siempre dicen que tengo acento o algo, entonces siempre es muy difícil para mí. Soy la persona que tiene que demostrarle muchas cosas a mi mamá, sobre todo su esfuerzo de ser madre soltera y ser madre inmigrante es lo más importante, lo que me motiva a mí para ser una persona mejor y demostrarle a ella que todo su esfuerzo fue por algo bueno.
Bueno, yo creo que la educación es muy importante para mi vida, ya que como mis papás no tuvieron una alta educación y veo cómo han sufrido para encontrar trabajo, entonces si ellos me brindaron la oportunidad para yo poder estudiar, yo tomé la decisión de educarme y así en un futuro poder ayudarlos a ellos.
Lo que me conmovió para hacer esos reportajes es de que la comunidad LGBT no tienen mucha luz y nuestro reportaje quiere dar más allá de qué es ser LGBT. Nos tratamos de enfocar en la importancia, en darle voz a las personas LGBT que no son vistas. Entrevistamos a una persona que es trans, a jóvenes indocumentados que están en el movimiento UndocuQueer. Nada más les estamos dando una imagen y otra voz a esta comunidad.
había dos grupos de personas que estaban al frente de este movimiento, ¿no? del movimiento joven inmigrante indocumentado de este país, que eran las mujeres. Que yo digo, pues siempre las mujeres, ¿no? Siempre las mujeres están al pie del cañón. Y pues la comunidad LGBT indocumentada. Y entonces de ahí sale, ¿no? Salen estas identidades, hasta sale esto, ¿no? De undocumented queer, ¿qué es esto, no? Que a veces, ¿no? ¿Cómo se come, no?
He visto ciertas victorias, pero también he visto muchas desgracias, ¿no? Una de ellas te puedo mencionar, por ejemplo, el caso de Victoria Arellano, quien era una mujer trans que estaba detenida en un centro de detención y porque le negaron sus medicamentos, ella era VIH positiva y porque le negaron sus medicamentos cuando ella estaba en detención, eso le llevó a que ella muriera.
El hecho de haber sido anoréxica me conmovió muchísimo a ayudar a las personas que tienen desórdenes alimenticios, por eso decidí hacer el reportaje número 2 con mi amiga y porque quiero ayudar a esas personas que han pasado por desórdenes alimenticios y no tienen la información allá, no hay información sobre estos desórdenes alimenticios que están pasando los jóvenes latinos en Estados Unidos. Entonces yo creo que el llevar la voz de las personas que están calladas y que no tienen voz, el darles la voz a ellos, es lo que me conmovió. El ayudar a las personas. Desde muy pequeña me ha gustado mucho ayudar a las personas y creo que mediante el periodismo lo puedo hacer.
Me hacía feliz montarme en la balanza y decir 1 kilo menos. Claro, cuando la balanza me decía, tienes 2 kilos más, eso ya eran 4 horas de gimnasio. Yo creo que lo que me afectó y lo que influyó a que yo tuviese anorexia fue el cambio de cultura y también una Natalie que quería buscar la perfección, donde en realidad la perfección no existe en ningún lugar ni en el mundo. Podemos ser mejores, pero no podemos llegar a ser perfectos.
La ignorancia que hay en la sociedad de los inmigrantes, especialmente los padres inmigrantes, aunque no tengan ellos educación, pues todavía apoyan a sus hijos, a los jóvenes, y nos ayudan a seguir adelante. Y también pues esa ignorancia se tiene que disminuir en una manera y yo creo que con estos reportajes se puede hacer.
Pues la verdad que el estudio es lo que deja y yo diría que es la herencia que yo les voy a dejar a ellos nomás, enseñarles que vayan a la escuela, que se gradúen. Mi más grande ilusión y mi más grande orgullo es cuando él ya me diga, ahora sí, aquí está, ya me gradué, que ya nomás nos falta poquito. Desde bien chiquitos, lo primero que les enseñaba es, ok hijo, me sentaba yo con ellos y dije, ok mijo, usted, lo suyo es la escuela, dejarme aquí buenas notas y lo mío es trabajar.
El apoyo que me daba mi mamá, pues ella siempre miraba lo que me interesaba y si ella miraba que de veras era algo que yo sentía que me iba a dar un futuro, entonces ella siempre estaba atrás de mí. No era algo que me forzaba a que hiciera una cosa porque, pues, como por ejemplo, si ella me forzaba a ser un doctor y a mí no me gustaba ser doctor, entonces ella sabía que pues necesita que apoyarme en algo que yo de veras tengo un interés, que tengo una pasión y que me voy a ser responsable en mi propia vida con cualquier carrera, cualquier decisión que haga en mi vida.
A veces no nos damos cuenta que uno como joven y como latino tenemos nuestra propia identidad, nuestra propia historia que contar y cada caso es diferente a pesar de que estos temas sean generalizados. Entonces eso conmueve mucho, es algo especial, es único y a pesar de que se han hecho 10, 15 historias, aún se pueden seguir haciendo más y eso es lo importante, que este tema siempre puede ser abordado de diferente manera, de diferente ángulo y siempre va a tener algo que contar.
Anybody, anyone want some celery? I could go with celery. This is enough.
Glory. Ram.
Let's take this puppy over to Midas and get you some of that good old Midas touch. You know what? I'll drive. I really didn't think this through.
Get the Midas Touch maintenance package, including an oil change for only $24.99. And here's the deal. Use your Midas credit card and get a rebate of $25. Oil, tires, brakes.
Are loved. You're loved a lot. And in so many ways.
I typed my name, and Ancestry opened the door to the world's largest online collection of family history records. Discover your story today at Ancestry.com.
It's been confirmed. Choosing Basic Talk for low-cost home phone service could save you up to $70 upfront versus the other guy. Plus, it's free access to Ireland. It's possible the Uncle knew it was a different jurisdiction and took advantage of it.
I'll do whatever it takes to get you back. And I can't quit selling it yet, but I'll quit smoking it.
But I'm serious. We gotta stop being more responsible and focused, all right?
Why is there a dog biting the guy? Oh, because I bought a dog.
The dog.
Bought a dog? For how much?
Oh, it's cool, yo. He's you. Including the house, it was only $250, yo.
You spent $250 on a used dog?
And a dog house, yo. Brian bought something too. For $400, I got.
We're gonna go see what we can find at some of North County's record spots. We'll probably hit some thrift stores, maybe a couple actual record stores that are in North County, and you know, see what we get. Maybe nothing, maybe something. You never know. We are here at the Oceanside DAV to see if we can find a starfish in a sea of shit. It's a diamond in the rough, you know?
It's like, I feel like sometimes that
Well, this is one of those places, definitely. 78. Who's gonna buy a 78? Nobody. Nobody's gonna buy that. See, like that? You don't know. There could be something.
How do you decide that there could be something?
Okay, well, the cover. See, this is a tough one. He's got like the white guy afro. This could be a Christian record, maybe.
Attention all DEV customers, the store will be closing in less than 5 minutes. Once again, the store will be closing in less than 5 minutes.
All right, I gotta listen to these records.
Register before we close on the registration.
It's not even Johnny Pacheco.
What?
As you can see, it's Funkadelic in a Johnny Pacheco cover. A just destroyed Funkadelic record. We'll put
Or you get some shit ever for having the record player?
Yes. Certain people make a big deal out of it. Other people don't. Alwyn Wall Band. All right. Dusty but in good shape. Random drum break. Yep. It's just that easy. Just have to look through 500 shitty records, and then you get one with a small drum break on it. But hey, it's a success. We're here at Standards Record Store in Vista, California. They don't allow portable record players, unfortunately, so we're just gonna have to dig and see if we see anything interesting in the dollar bin. Let's go. Do you guys allow portables? No? The thing about portables is that you don't just look at a record and get it. You listen to it first and then decide whether you want to buy it. What kind of weirdness we got here? Japanese imprint of some sketchy old white guy. I mean, again, this could be incredibly interesting, or it could be an absolute waste of money. Just based on the date and the fact that it's early digital, I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. The next record could be the one. So anytime you don't, there's something that sticks around in your head for a bit where you feel, if I would have went through those last 5 records, I might have really found something. Oh, that's done. This is my favorite. This is the soundtrack to my favorite Stanley Kubrick film. They have a version of the Sarabande, which is much different than the initial composition of that. It's a definite get for me. You learn an incredible amount just looking through other people's records. I mean, if you have somebody to show you, then it's incredibly helpful. Certain labels that existed, 30 plus years ago, that if you see, you should definitely get, because it's almost guaranteed. I mean, just like any label nowadays where they're known for having great hip hop or great, like a Daptone, you're pretty much guaranteed to have quality music of that genre from that label. Oh wow. We'll see. Could just go right in the get rid of bin. I don't know. That's what happens when you can't use your portable. You buy shit that the record store wants to get rid of. And that's how it goes.
Guillermina Romero and her children watch for hours as a group of American strangers labor in the hot sun. This weekend, Mike Sherbakov and the other volunteers are building Guillermina and her children a brand new home.
People are giving up their time to spend a weekend down here making a difference for other people who they've never met before. I'm inspired by seeing other people inspired.
The volunteers are a group of friends who contacted Bajaban organization. For most of them, it is their first experience working in construction.
Baja Bound is about changing lives both sides of the border. The families that receive the home are given hope and dignity, and those participating in the project find that their hearts are forever changed and end up bringing that mission home with them.
This colonia is near Ensenada, about 40 miles south of the international border. Guillermina's family landed here 2 years ago from the southern coast of Mexico in the state of Guerrero. She speaks in her native Mixteco, a tribal dialect. The language barrier doesn't stop her from communicating with the volunteers or the children from playing. Until now, Guillermina and her children lived here in a small wooden structure with no running water, no electricity, and dirt floors. Guillermina's dream is to have her entire family united once again. Finally, the moment they have all been waiting for. For Guillermina and her family, it's a day they will never forget. They are moved deeply by the generosity of these volunteers.
Es un gesto lindo, muy lindo de su parte.
Una casa grande para mí.
Animal Farm is a space that wants to experiment with alternative ways of living. Just how we use the space, the fact that it's shared amongst probably 5 or more people.
You're just happier when you live with friends, but living intentionally, living with people who want to live in the same way as you do. I think that's really unique in a society that's really individualistic.
To create a space that treats the idea of housing, the idea of space like that, different than the kind of normative status quo.
Animal Farm is a collective house where I live with 5 other people. Along with practicing living in a specific way comes a lot of different ways of thinking, and with that, a lot of challenges for me. Given we have time and space to talk about issues, it's not always that easy. So there's a reason why I decided to try not to heroicize ourselves.
This is Animal Farm.
Really, the soul of Animal Farm is the American dream. It's the white picket fence. And although the white picket fence is no longer there, that central ethos, that soul remains. And we've carried that torch because what else do you want to do with your life than attain the American dream? And all we want is a family. And we're just creating one.
We've got to do what we want to do. We don't have to work for the man. This is ours. This is home.
You would think that this is some sort of utopia or something. We have shared responsibilities, chores, food, and expenses. We have house meetings, but are we like a family? And how are we any different from the status quo? And why do we come across as so exclusive? And what kind of people do live here?
Hello world.
I am Evan Apodaca. I am a full-time dancer with dogs. So my job is to take small dogs and do therapeutic dances with them. I've been at Animal Farm now for well over 30 years. In my spare time, I film things with my camera. Oh, I'm an avid mask maker. I love crafting masks.
A little known fun trivia about Mayada is that she's my sister, and that makes us related. She kind of gets fixated into things, like her recent thing has been Legos. She's like the child of the house.
Davi, really energetic, but sometimes kind of loud, forceful, and definitely bro-y, romantic. Like a literary character, just like so caught up in emotions.
Nick's a cutie. I like him. When I first brought him to Animal Farm, I remember like warning everyone, just so you know, he's a hipster.
And they all add their own unique dimension to what this house is and the different characters who live here. It's like Animal Farm is showing that people can live together and work together and kind of strive towards similar ideals together. And I think that's really what's fun about this place is that we all have our own unique perspective on those ideals that we share.
But do we share the same ideals? Food. In this house, our kitchen and our refrigerator are strictly vegan.
Like, I know Evan brought up the vegan fridge. Is that something you want changed, or is that something you just wanted to question? Like,
It's something that having a vegan fridge that I wanted to question, but also wonder what it means to have it and not being arbitrary. And
you know, like with this house, we decided to do something different than the rest of the houses on this block, and we should be looking for some sort of diet or like some sort of way of like integrating food into our lives, both in our shared meals and in like the space that we use food in, like the kitchen.
But this is like the first time I've ever lived in a house where it's been an all vegan kitchen, and it's really nice to be able to like open the fridge and not have to worry like, oh, is this vegan? Like, we have the small fridge, so that could be like if it got to that point, we could be like, this is the not vegan stuff, and like, I mean, there's no reason for someone who's not comfortable with that to open that fridge. I'm not saying.
Like, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a jerk, because I don't mean it this way, but I don't know, like, I just feel like whenever we've interviewed people, we've always been like very clearly asked, and like, this is a vegan house, like, do you feel comfortable with that?
do you feel like it's exclusive in any way?
Like it's only exclusive to the point where the people who like live here and are to the other people, like, to make sure that they still feel included.
So you're saying it's exclusive for the sake of being inclusive for the people that live here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea.
I think so.
Okay.
We're acting, when we're on stage or in front of the camera, we take a huge risk.
Actor Jose Yenke is a familiar face, perhaps best known as a corrupt Mexican official in the hit movie Traffic. But getting to this point wasn't easy.
I was 14 years old. I was 230 pounds, and I had no desire to be an actor. And she put me into this workshop, and it was 7 months of being out of my comfort zone. It was 7 months of being feeling embarrassed. 7 months of these weird theater games and exercises, and I was scared. I was terrified, but I didn't miss a class.
Thanks to one of Yenke's acting colleagues who introduced him to teens at Tijuana orphanages, Jose made a special connection with a boy named Israel.
He got my attention because he wouldn't talk. He was really angry. And later on, I had found out that his mom had done, because of necessity, and she had a drug problem, and she had done, sold the kids, him and his sister, to, for drugs. And that made me want to go back to that one orphanage. And I kept going back monthly, bi-monthly trips just to make sure he was okay. Finally, slowly but surely, after a couple of years, he started talking.
That welfare check turned into a lifelong friendship for the two. Jose founded an organization called Arts for a Better Tomorrow to give young people hope. Israel graduated from that academy and has a new outlook on life. Now, Yenke tries to give back to young people who, just like him, are struggling. He holds the workshops at a continuation school in the Los Angeles barrio. This acting program combines cinema, art enthusiasm, and anger management therapy techniques, providing a dynamic group project for at-risk teens.
What I think about this program is just life-changing. I've never seen programs like this, here, you could say. I've never seen them here. And to meet someone who will be there and, understand you, even though you guys have nothing in common, and, give you those wise words through acting, it's amazing.
I think what this program is doing is beautiful because it's bringing together, kids that share similar things, similar passions, problems.
Now the Mexican teens connect via Skype with teenagers in the Highland Park neighborhood in Los Angeles. When the teens in LA heard that one of the students at the orphanages was thinking about dropping out of the program, they put their hearts and minds together.
Some people you can trust, some people you can't.
I think that you should just stay in school, in the workshop.
And I say you should go back to Mr. Yankee's class because it's important and they miss you and shouldn't go down the wrong path.
Arts for a Better Tomorrow may not produce Oscar award-winning actors, but for Jose Yenke, seeing these teens succeed in life is the biggest prize anyone could hope for.
San Diego, California, the perfect climate, beautiful sunset, a hot spot for tourists. But underneath its beauty is a dark side.
In 2012, in San Diego County, there were $97 million that was made in human trafficking.
This minor is one of the victims.
One moment, I was used as an object. Then, the object would be thrown away.
In America and in Mexico, this border is actually trafficking every year 20,000 women and girls. So if you do the math, it's 1,600 women and girls a month.
According to the FBI, San Diego is the country's 8th most popular destination for child prostitution and human sex trafficking.
My education was what I wanted the most. I started to realize if I wanted to study, everything was in exchange for something else. Doesn't matter what you want and what you feel, I still had to do stuff I didn't want to.
Children are being used and abused on both sides of the border. There are young American girls that are being transferred over to Mexico and trafficked through cartels.
In this case, the minors are rescued by the Foundation International Network of Heart.
A case that we have here of two sisters, a man from the United States come every week, every weekend, and pay $100 every time that the mother allow him to take his daughter and take her to a hotel, takes pictures, and who knows what else.
Because San Diego is a border town, it is easy for traffickers to slip in and out of the country seeking victims.
The people are not only trafficked for sex and in humiliating situations, but once they're done with them, they kill them and they harvest their organs, and then they traffic that on the black market.
I will not sit silent for this epidemic. Women deserve to walk the streets to freedom.
When I decided to talk, it was because I couldn't take it anymore. Even if I could be in more danger than I already was. I felt desperate. It got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. That's when I decided to speak up.
FBI says child sex trafficking will stop only when people realize it is a community problem. The first step is raising awareness, placing trafficking poster from the DA's office in your business. Alma Tucker's organization fights against human trafficking. She's giving victims a new chance to live.
My dreams are to finish my education, having a career, travel, and have a family.
This is the Mercado Hidalgo in downtown Tijuana. You rarely see tourists here. It's a place where locals buy everything, from fresh fruit and vegetables to candy, baked goods, and more. Looking for chilies? Mercado Hidalgo has plenty of varieties to choose from. And if all this shopping gives you an appetite, step into a fonda for tacos and a cerveza. A visit to the Mercado Hidalgo is a rich and colorful experience filled with sights, scents, and sounds you won't soon forget.
The blue agave, native to the Mexican state of Jalisco, where the patient Imadores harvest over 300 million plants a year, all with the goal to produce the finest tequila around. From plant to pulque, the craft of tequila uses traditions that have been passed down through generations, aged to perfection, and sent off to its next destination, like this one here. Welcome to the Old Town Tequila Factory, located in Old Town San Diego, where you could find the special edition Old Town Tequila Factory Double Barrel Tequila, a Herradura Reposado straight from the Casa Herradura Master Distillery.
We have a double barrel tequila, which is our signature tequila. It is barreled 11 months in the barrel that Herradura has for us, and then we pick our own barrel and the notes that we want in it, flavors, and barrel an extra month in our barrel. Our own Old Town tequila barrel.
And if you prefer your tequila sweeter or unaged, the Tequila Factory has got you covered.
A Blanco, which is not aged at all, and then a Reposado, which is aged up to 6 months, and then we have an Añejo, which is 12 months or more.
And when asked about most popular,
I would say ours, the double barrel that we have. That's what everybody orders. They love it. We have over 240 bottles, which are hand-formed by Herradura.
I just walked a mile to get to this place, all right? That shows something. Tequila's great.
Salud!
And the atmosphere is awesome.
This is what's left of the Tijuana River Canal. It looks like a ghost town now, but not so long ago it was home of hundreds of migrants who were deported from the United States with no place else to go. It was a dangerous place to be because of the drug addicts who lived there. Last year, the authorities raided the canal, forcing everyone out. Many of the migrants, like Rene and Sara, end up several miles away at the shelter called Jehová Protege Su Pueblo, or Jehovah Protects Its People in English. It's located about 4 miles away from the San Isidro border crossing on the Mexican side.
Nosotros nos mantenemos con este albergue porque les cobramos, no es una cobranza, es una cooperación de 15 pesos por la noche. Entran a las 2:30 de la tarde y salen a las 6:30 de la mañana. A mediodía se les da de comer, en la noche se les da de cenar y en la mañana se les da una canela. Pero todos tienen que ser formaditos. Y ahorita como está haciendo calor, todos se duermen afuera en el patio.
If it wasn't for the shelter, they would be out on the streets trying to survive. Although the shelter is a drug-free zone, the same issues that plague El Bordo lead to uncontrollable situations.
Pero cada que viene la gente de Aurora es un problema aquí.
¿Por qué?
Andan rompiendo vidrios, andan, no hombre. Me rompieron 2 ventanas de arriba. Ellos ya vienen drogados, tomados.
No están conscientes.
Ya no están conscientes. Y una vez se murió aquí uno pasado, se pasó.
Gracias a Jehová, que conocí a este hombre, nunca me ha dejado abajo. Fuimos amigos por 4 años. Y las buenas y las malas estuvimos juntos.
The couple, like many others, are heartbroken after having to leave their 6 children behind in the U.S.
Gracias a Dios que no me los han dado en adopción con otra gente. Están ahí esperando. Las podré ver yo de lejos si me avisan, pero acercarme no puedo. No puedo acercarme, si es duro. Si ellas se quieren ir, pues ya está su decisión de ellas. Una de ellas sí, ella quiso que otra familia la adoptara. ¿Qué puedo hacer? Se fue, pero después se arrepintió, pero pues ahora sí que ¿qué hago? Pero de todos modos nunca van a dejar de ser mis hijos, ni nunca van a dejar de yo ser de sus madres.
And while this will never be a permanent home, for now it's all they have, until their family can be reunited once again.
One of the reasons that this wave is great is because there's a watershed right behind it. It's really important because a watershed is an area of land that all the water drains to one singular point. Water in San Miguel is green, so it's essentially like a desert landscape. There are willows and important trees, which provide a lot of habitat for a variety of bird species which depend on ecosystems like these. Trestles also has a watershed which brings the water cobbles down and helps create a beautiful shape of the wave. It's important for surfers to know that function.
Porque es una ola de 5 estrellas, se categoriza por el arrecife, es muy fuerte la ola, aunque está chica, pero tiene muy buena forma y se le pueden pegar maniobras. Cuando está grande es una ola muy buena, muy tubera.
It's important to know that as it rains, anything that happens in the land will end up in the waves, including contaminants and water pollution. Gustavo represents Pro Natura, a group that works with Save the Waves Wild Coast.
Imagine coming into Ensenada through the toll road, and the first thing that you see is a beautiful state park that provides camping for visitors, provides access to the beach, provides services for those that want to enjoy the beach and the wave, provide areas for people to walk, for hike, for riding a bike, just enjoying nature. This will be the first state park for Baja California. It goes from the coast all the way 6 kilometers inland along the arroyo.
In a combined effort to turn San Miguel into a state park, we have an opportunity to keep something like Trestles, or we could also have a massive development and massive building within this watershed and change it, and it could become something like the Tijuana River.
Para mí es como el patio de mi casa. Entonces yo sí le tengo mucho cariño, mucho amor a este lugar y siempre lo voy a estar y a defender.
In these times when there's so many problems everywhere, you read a newspaper and it's full of problems, wars, violence, and all kind of negative things. To create this kind of protected area, preserve nature for the people is one of the things that provides hope for people, for locals.
A movement has already begun to turn San Miguel into a state park, but in order for protective legislation to pass, the government of Baja needs to be convinced that people around the world care about the preservation of this place. It's easier to defend a wave than it is to restore it.
Located here on Avenida Revolucion, Tijuana, since 1927 is Caesar's the restaurant, the actual birthplace of the original Caesar salad, bringing hundreds of visitors from around the world to get a taste of that original recipe.
It was created in July 1924 at a table inside this restaurant to showcase the chef's ability to create something wonderful from the ingredients at hand. The original recipe was accidentally created last minute when Cesar Cardini's restaurant supplies were running low. That's when he unknowingly created what would become the emperor of all salads.
Los señores César Cardini junto con el señor Livio Santini se vienen aquí unos a Estados Unidos, otros aquí a Tijuana. Y el señor César Cardini era el propietario de este lugar. El señor Santini era su encargado de cocina, o su chef. Un buen día les llega un grupo de aviadores de San Diego. Precisamente en esa época había mucha afluencia aquí en la Avenida Revolución porque existía la prohibición de alcohol en Estados Unidos. La gente se venía aquí a la Revolución, ya existía el restaurante César. Llega el grupo de aviadores, el señor Cardini y el señor Santini dicen, bueno, ¿qué les vamos a dar? Ya estaban a punto de cerrar y tenían muy pocos suministros en cocina. Buscan por ahí en sus cajones, en su cocina, y encuentran todos estos elementos, excepto la anchoa. La anchoa se la agregan después, como en los años 50.
This famous salad has also been featured in the Guinness Book of World Records. The world's largest Caesar salad was prepared by Carnirec, the Tijuana Restauranters Chamber of Commerce. It weighed 7,246 pounds and was unveiled in Tijuana, Baja California on October 20th, 2007.
Luego el siguiente paso es llevar la ensalada ya al plato, ya que el aderezo y la lechuga ya están bien integrados. Nosotros la montamos de esta forma. Agregamos un crotón de pan, preparado aquí mismo en el restaurante. Por último agregamos un poquito de parmesano. ¿Verdad? Y aquí tenemos la famosa ensalada César de Tijuana para el mundo.
Cardini is credited with having created Caesar's salad, which became fashionable amongst Hollywood and many celebrities, especially after he had moved his restaurant a few blocks down to the hotel built in 1927 called Hotel Caesars. This move brought much more tourism.
Well, the food's good, and I love history, and this is a special place in the history of the world. I mean, the Caesar salad is a dish that I've had in lots and lots of countries around the world, and kind of confuses them in Italian restaurants because they're not quite sure where it came from, but it's still a great dish, and I eat it all the time. It started right here in Tijuana, Mexico.
Today, people from all over the world now visit Caesar's just for their famous salad and the experience of having it made tableside.
Delicious.
Así que te invito a que la pruebes de esa forma, que nos digas tu experiencia. Rica?
Be sure to visit Caesar's restaurant to get a taste of the original recipe. Amazing.